Good morning, everybody. I'm just so grateful that everyone's here with us for our Tuesday morning with friends. We have been studying chapter 16, Course of
Good morning,
Miracles, and
everybody. I'm just
Oop, Lynn, when you muted,
yeah, I
Pal
had to
Talker
mute
muted
myself.
you. Okay,
Yeah, I
got it.
had to mute. Yeah. So yeah. But otherwise, you'd be hearing echo, 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 and
Right.
but that's interesting. That's how long it takes from the time we actually start talking to when YouTube starts up. So, there's a little delay, just like on the radio. I know you notice that on the radio, there's a delay. So they're just hearing that on the radio now. Uh, in fact, probably. Anyway, so good morning, everybody. And uh, I'm going to ask our friend Mickey to pray us in. First, tell us where we are, if you have it.
I believe we are in chapter 16, section 4, paragraph 9. I could be wrong, but that's the last notation I have down.
Well, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that.
There's still quite a few paragraphs in this section, so
I'll get ready to make a note on this one.
all right. We might even go and start with paragraph 8, even if we read it already, because it's interesting to me, and I have some thoughts about this since this week that I didn't probably have last week. Anyway,
Excellent.
Mickey, would you like to pray us in,
I
please?
would love to pray us in. And I'm going to take a tip from Karen Parenti, and I'm going to start this. Where'd it go? Hang on, I gotta get to the
Page
page.
28.
I got it. I'm going to start with the sentence before the prayer, which says, "You can do much on behalf of your own healing and that of others if, in a situation calling for help, you think of it this way: I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing that he goes there with me, and I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Amen."
Amen, amen, amen. I notice I always say I am healed instead of I will be healed. And I'm not correcting Jesus. I think it's um, Susie from Vancouver, who's now Susie in Bali. When she made it into a song, there wasn't enough room in there for I will be healed. So she just said, I am healed. And ever since then, every time I hear that, I think I am healed. And it's true, I am healed. I am healed.
I
Uh,
like that, Lynn. I like that a lot.
yeah, we can change things.
We adapt.
We do. And will be seems like a future operation. And
Yeah.
am is now. I am healed. All right. So, as suggested by Mickey, we are on chapter 16, and we are in section 4. And let me do this here. Go to the TOC. Chapter 16 is the forgiveness of illusions, and section 4 is the illusion and the reality of love. And that goes right along with all the things we've been listening to this morning. Um, that, basically I am God's love. And I that's exactly what I'm here for. My only intent and purpose is to be here and be God's love. So the reality of love versus the illusion of love is probably a pretty interesting thing for me to see. So who would like to read paragraph 8?
Well, Lynn, I thought you said you had a bunch to say about this, so maybe you should.
Okay, twist my arm.
Consider yourself twisted.
Damn, twisted. All right. So heaven waits silently, and your creations are holding out their hands to help you cross and welcome them. For it is they you seek. You seek but for your own completion, and it is they who render you complete. And I just these few sentences, we have this idea, God is not complete without his son. My mother is not a mother unless she has children. My father is not a father unless he has children. So God the Father can't be complete without the children. So and we are God's creations. And as long as God is standing there waiting for us to come on home, his children, his creations that complete him. That's why the prodigal son, the father and the prodigal son was so elated. Not because he loved his son and missed his son. I'm sure he loved a lot of people, but his son completed him. His son is what gave him fatherhood. Now there was another son, of course, and that's fine too because there's lots of us. We're what give God his fatherhood. So and Jesus actually says that here in A Course in Miracles as well. So what are my creations that are holding out their hands to me? And I've been listening to a lot of Ken Wapnick during the day because I realized, I have all these recordings that Prudence sent me, and she plays them at night. But a lot of people are here during the day and never hear them. So I've been playing a lot of Ken, and he's talking about what our creations, and our creations are our communication of love. When we communicate love, that is a creation. Just like, you're doing a painting, or you're cooking a meal, or you're, whatever it is that you're doing, you are doing it out of love. We create out of love. And so this whole idea of what is my creation, it is the love that I extend, I communicate. And communication is the means by which that creation is done. So I'm communicating love. And of course, that's what I'm doing right here, right now, right? That's the only thing I'm doing right here, right now, is communicating love. Why? Because I was made as a communication of love from God. God communicated love, and it is his child, the sonship, what we are. And so our creations, the love that is cannot exist as it is without us, because we are the creator of it. And it is our creations that make us creators. If you never create anything, are you a creator? No, you create things. So and people will think, well, is it planets? Is it other universes? No, those are miscreations. Creation in the real term is extension of love, and it is not the making of more useless phenomena, more illusory thoughts that is not creation. That is miscreation. Those are attempts to make and reinforce a separation from the creator. So this is why the first recording that we listened to this morning, and thank you, Sharonda, for sending it to me. That first recording about Joel talking about why it was so important to see that God is my father is just this, what we are just talking about. That's just this it is accepting the truth and reality of what I am. So he says the special relationship is but a shabby substitute for what makes you whole in truth, not an illusion. Your relationship with them is without guilt. My relationship with my own creations, there is no guilt. And that enables me to look on all my brothers with gratitude because all my creations were created in union with them. There is not a single creation that I have ever created that I didn't, that was not a uh not even a joint effort, a total ensemble. Everyone, everything is a part of the creation. So all of my brothers are a part of my being a creator. So acceptance of your creations is the acceptance of the oneness of creation, without which you could never be complete. No specialness can offer you what God has given and what you are joined with him in giving. So giving and receiving is the same thing. It is the reciprocal law here is that the creator and the creation cannot be separated. The creator and the creation cannot be separated. Mickey, yeah, please go ahead.
Did you finish up that paragraph? Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt in the middle of that. Um, so I've been going on about this a little bit recently, but I'm going to go on about it some more because clearly it's what I need to learn. So, our creation, I finally think I have a handle on the concept of our creations. And it's that spark of the divine that lives in our heart. And that's using a bodily type of um, term, but it's not the heart that beats in us in our bodies. It's that lives inside of what we consider our separated self. Each and every one of the 8 billion some odd seemingly separated parts um, have that spark of the divine in them. And that's our creations are the light that shines forth from that spark of the divine. And those are our creations. You can think of it also as a song. There's a song coming out from that spark of the divine, singing to God, who's also singing it back to us, as it says in the Song of Prayer. But we are also singing those creations out to all the other creations that are singing out to ours. And how can we, heaven waits silently for your creations, and heaven waits silently, and your creations are holding out their hands. So all of those songs that are coming forth are being listened to and sung back to every other one that is seemingly separated. And in that is a symphony that is sung by God and by us. How can anything be separate? when that is what's being created. Okay, that's what I needed to hear. Thanks.
Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, I and the Father are one. How often do we hear that and read that, know that? Um, the sonship is one. God's son is one. I don't know how we read that and just say, well, that's an interesting concept. I wonder if I'll ever know what that means. Yes, you know what it means. We know what it means. We're just not accepting, I think is the best word for this. I'm just not accepting it. I'm still thinking there's a yeah, but I'm still thinking there are steps. I'm still thinking there is do this process, then this will happen. Do this for 20 years, then this will happen. Like Tony Parsons was saying, there's nothing to do. It already is. And of course, now Joel gave us some practice that is very helpful. A, um, remember that God is your father and that you love him, and that I and the Father are one. Accept the fatherhood of the Creator. Accept my being as a creation of that Creator. Just do that, 5 minutes first thing in the morning. Yeah. I and the Father are one. Uh, um, that's really all you have to do. Just remember who you are. Oh, that's no big deal. Just remember who I am. Okay. For 5 minutes, can I practice remembering who I am? But like the Joel thing was saying, don't do it for 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, and then forget about it. You have to do it consistently every time, every day, every moment. It becomes your life, your reality. Connection with God becomes the the only logical thing that can be. And let's see, we got some stuff in the chat. Um, yeah, and Dove says Tony Parsons is saying nothing is happening and the process is the punishment. Yeah, the process is basically, if you have to do all these, meditation for, 4 hours or, you know, even, for us doing the daily lessons, you know, we really don't have to do the daily lessons. Um, it's but they're all reminders of our reality that we have clearly forgotten. So if I've clearly forgotten my reality, I've clearly forgotten that I am a child of God. I've clearly forgotten that uh, God created me because he loves me. I've clearly forgotten all these things. So a daily reminder or two is not going to hurt. And I can absolutely guarantee you that Tony Parsons did practice. He did practice. We all do practice. David Cars did practice. All these people that had, oh, I have an awakening and it has nothing to do with what I practice. And, well, that's true. It really has nothing to do with what you practice because it's what you are already. You didn't become something new because of your practice. You're it already. And so remembering that you're it already. And when you remember that this is what you are, you look at the practice and say, oh, that was not what made me remember this. I remember this because this is what I am. But it gives you something to do in the meantime. I think that's a kind of a big deal for me to have something to do in the meantime. Because sometimes I just sit here. I'll just sit here. Maybe I got Ken playing or got watching a video of some sort. I'll just sit here and absolutely do nothing. And 2 hours later, I'll be looking around going, what happened? What happened here? And I think, oh, all the things I could have been done while I was just sitting here. No, there was really nothing that could have been done. Just sitting here in this stillness is the only thing. I mean, really, it is quite pleasant. It is more than pleasant. It is just comfort and home. So, like I said, at the end of a couple hours, I'm like sitting here going, what the heck happened? But I wasn't doing anything. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel guilty. So, anybody else have anything to say about this paragraph before we move on to the next? Right, acceptance of my creations. All right, who wants to read paragraph 9? We get across that bridge.
I can.
Great, thank you, Dove.
Okay, across the bridge is your completion, for you will be holy in God, willing for nothing special, but only to be holy like to Him, completing Him by your completion. Wow, that's a mouthful. Actually, that's saying the same thing that you've been saying the last 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, that on this side of the bridge, all this tarry, there's a big bridge. You probably heard of the Verrazano Bridge over the Hudson, and on one side of the Hudson is a little town called Tarrytown, and the story goes that the Englishmen who used to be here, they used to tarry before they crossed over the bridge by having a few drinks. That's what you might say we're doing here. We're tarrying to cross over because we have so much to do. So much has to be done before I leave. If we had a few drinks, it probably would have been a little bit easier, but we think we have something to do that goes along with the process is the punishment. Fear not to cross to the abode of peace and perfect. Yeah, so I guess we are afraid to go home because for whatever reason, I mean, if I go home, I won't be myself anymore. I mean, where's Dove gonna show up anymore? That's gonna be gone. So that's keeps the fear in place. I'll have a few more drinks. Thank you very much. Fear not to cross the abode of peace and perfect holiness. Only there is the completion of God and of His Son established forever. Yeah, so we really don't care about the completion of God. We really care about saving our behinds. You might call it selfish. Selfish. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what keeps us here is selfishness. Yeah, myself is important. Like giving up myself for something I don't even know about yet. Say it's nice, but how do I know that? My fear keeps me over here in Tarrytown. Only there is the completion of God and of His Son established forever. Seek not for this in the bleak world of illusion. Ah, that's where we are, the bleak world of illusion and delusion, where nothing, keyword is nothing, is certain, and where everything, keyword is everything, fails to satisfy. Imagine trying to get satisfaction out of something that you cannot get satisfaction out of. Wow. I can't think of the word, but there is a word that sums it all up. I can't think of it. Someone can help me with the word. I appreciate it. Seek not for this in the bleak world of illusion where nothing is certain and where everything fails to satisfy. Oh, I guess the word is discouraging. That's very discouraging to even think that. I mean, no matter what you do, you can't satisfy yourself. It's impossible. In the name of God, come home. In the name of God, be wholly willing to abandon all illusions. Let's see, what does that mean? The name of God. In other words, in my name, my true name, not my false identity. Let me just cross over the bridge now. It's only now. It's not tomorrow. It's only now. Let's see, I wonder what keeps me from crossing over. Oh, well, I said I'm going to read this paragraph, so I can't cross over yet. In the name of God, be wholly willing to abandon all illusions and any relationship in which you're wholly willing to accept completion. And only this, there is God completed and his son with him. That's a thought twister. In any relationship in which you're wholly willing to accept completion, and only this where is God completed. So the truth is, I'm really a laggard. I like to lag behind, and I'll be the last one over. I have more to do. There's a good word. More to do. I got more to do, and I am not accomplished yet. And with that, I'm complete. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dove. Wow. Wow, that was awesome. The whole Terrytown. Yes, here we are in Terrytown, and everything you emphasize in here is like a lesson in itself. When you were talking about not hearing the discouraging word, I was thinking home, home on the range, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
That's one of
Uh,
my favorite songs. I want you to know that's one of my favorite songs. It really is.
I love that song too. Oh my gosh. Mickey, please go ahead.
So the sentence that jumped out at me was what I think is the most important thing that this course teaches us. Seek not for this in the bleak world of illusion, where nothing is certain and where everything fails to satisfy. But what do we keep doing? Oops. Oh, yep. There's our reminder. What's our reminder? God's peace and joy are mine. Seek not for this in the bleak world of illusion. God's peace and joy are mine, not here in the bleak world of illusion. We keep thinking there's something we need to do here, that we as egos need to do something here, that there's anything here, that there's anything to do, that there's, I know that the course talks on two levels, and right now it's talking about God reaching out to us, and us imagining that he's got a body that his and has arms that can even reach out to us. God is complete because we never left, but we're still seeking for something here in the bleak world of illusion. We still think that we, as egos, as imaginary, illusory, separated selves, have to do something in order to get back to God or complete him or complete ourselves, or that there is anything that is even incomplete. In the name of God, be wholly willing to abandon all illusions that we're separate, that there's anything to do, that there's anything we're not, that we're not at home in God, wrapped up in a nice, fluffy, warm blanket. You know, we keep thinking we're missing something. And that's the whole reason I even went on this path. I thought I was missing a lot, that there was something wrong with me, that I was somehow, not complete. That was my whole reason for any suffering that I felt ever in this bleak world of illusion, where nothing is certain and where everything fails to satisfy. I just got to get my mind out of here. And that's all it is. Seek not for any kind of completion in a bleak world of the illusion of incompleteness. And there it is in a nutshell. Seek not for this in the bleak world of illusion. Thanks.
Thank you, Mickey. Yeah. Give up. No need. And Steve has his hand up. Please go ahead, Steve.
I recently heard my old teacher say these eyes were put in our head in order to look out for fire, danger, tigers, the smell to tell us that something we shouldn't have, to warn us, and our ears to warn us of the sound of a tiger roaring and stuff like that. He says so for thousands, millions of years, these senses have been used for defending against possible demise. And so now when we have these alerts, fears come up, we can put them in their proper place, because I haven't seen a saber-toothed tiger running after me in over a few months. I'm complete.
Exactly. No tiger running after me. So yeah. But of course, we see this as a dangerous world. But we're the one who set up the idea of danger. If honestly, if we hadn't um had any kind of thought about, getting killed and eaten by a tiger, we'd be fine with a tiger being here. I mean, you can put, animals where, no, or people with animals that they've never seen before, you know, they're not going to think they're going to die because this other thing is there. It's all a thought. It's an idea. So and we have that whole idea that being eaten by a tiger is not as much fun as eating a sandwich. But if all
Or
things are the
smelling a
same,
rose.
smelling a rose is the same thing. All things are what they are. And no, there's nothing more important than any other. Sharon has her hand up. Please go ahead, Sharon.
I just want to say I saw this because remember I told you I had a call I had to take, so I didn't see it. So you were talking in the beginning about Tony Parsons, and I guess him saying there's no process and all that, and that's the truth. But I see what Dove wrote. The process is the punishment, stuck in time that doesn't exist. Thinking something could have been done is the punishment. That's true. That's true. But bottom line is that Tony does say that, but it is a process. At least for me, it took me, as long as it took me to see that I'm not. I knew there was nothing there, but I also had a lot of, I don't know. I think if you're a Ken Wapnick, if you call yourself a student of Ken Wapnick, you really know there's a process, because he must say that over and over. But, where I'm at now, I know there's nothing here. So, did I miss something in that?
Yeah, no, we talked about that. I know what I said about it was that he will say there was no process, but that doesn't mean he didn't do a process.
He did
And
do a
that just,
process.
yeah,
Yeah, he
it's
did a
like
pro he
David
was
Carson,
in a lot of things, we all have the
right?
book. So, like,
But
sometimes he says things, and I don't know that it's hitting
okay,
people,
look,
but
can I finish what I was saying?
oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. But what happens is, and this I've seen this happen over and over to people, they come to this realization of their own reality and what they are, and they recognize that all the things that they were doing as a process were actually just biding time, giving them something to do while they waited to remember. And so they recognized the
That's a good
process
point.
didn't help at all. It just kept them, it kept
I
them
think it
from
mitigates the
losing
guilt. We
hope.
have so much guilt in our mind that we're not good enough, that we don't have it, it's not going to happen for us. Remember, enlightenment was always thought of as only for a few people. There was, because of the Eastern beliefs, and really everybody's enlightened. So anyway,
Yeah.
but the way
Thank
you
you.
phrased it, Lynn, I like a lot.
Yeah.
But the
You don't have to
punishment
make,
is the process in a way. But when when you have a lot of guilt, you have to have something, because we're undoing, and there's no time, but it takes as long as it takes until it happens.
right.
So
But we think that that it takes time, but it really doesn't take any time at all. It's instant. It
there's
happens
never been time,
immediately.
right? There's no
And then
time.
you recognize, oh, none of this was this was all a dream. Dove has his hand up. Please
Right.
go ahead, Dove.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. I want to share something that my mother said a long time ago that never made sense then. And what we're talking about right now makes all the sense in the world. We're talking about those who don't want to go home. They just tarry, and reminds me of like when I used to work in Manhattan, you know, the do-gooders got on the 5 o'clock train home, and the others used to tarry and take the 11 or 12 midnight trains home. Anyway, that's only the beginning of what I wanted to say. My mother, you know, most of you know that my oldest brother, who he died in World War II at a young age of 19. And my mother was a very spiritual woman. She used to talk to God all the time. And she said, the good die young. Now, at the time, I couldn't really figure that one out. What do you mean the good die young? I mean, everybody wants to live more. That's a good word, more. I want more life. Why should the good die young? Now, you do the full circle, and now we're here talking about exactly the process is the punishment. Yeah, if you think you have more, which the Course tells you in chapter 29, section 8, is the Antichrist. If you have more to accomplish, to do, to prove yourself, to get done so your posterity can have more, you want to have more people waiting on this side of the bridge because they have more. You know the rest of the story. I have to tell you. I mean, the good die young sounds as true as anything else.
They're just these sayings anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a body, you said, well, that's bullshit. What do you mean a good die young? That's crazy. That's insane. No, the insane, the insane kind find it crazy. I mean, Jesus is telling you that you're out of your mind.
Yeah. And mainly, I think I always thought when they said the good die young, it was because they didn't have a chance to do anything really bad. So, babies die, they didn't have a chance to be bad. So,
Uh,
young people who die, you know, if they live much longer, they would have done something bad,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we judge
Actually,
them.
if you look at what it says in lesson 152, the power of decision is my own. He tells you, no one leaves this world without their consent. I mean, all power is still with the Son of God. When he has no more lessons to learn, I mean, what do you need to learn lessons? I mean, really, look at it. Why need to learning lessons? Exactly as you said, doing the workbook is doing the process is the punishment.
Yeah, I mean, really, but it's good advice for how to think. It's actually showing us, the whole idea of blessing and forgiving my brother, loving my brother, seeing the light in him. Those are things that I struggle with because I see so many a-holes out there. So, doing the workbook is helpful for me because, it keeps me on track and remembering to practice forgiveness. But that's really it's just a way to keep going through life without losing hope or forgetting, your purpose or whatever. I mean, you don't even have to remember your purpose.
Yeah.
You just have to be, and eventually it will come to you.
Well, remember, he says you only have to do it for 1 year. It's the ego that says I have to do it every year.
Right. Well, and it's the ego that says, well, now you really didn't do now that you didn't do that, did you? No, you really didn't do that. If you really did do that, then you would be free now. Any one of those lessons, if you really did do them, you would not have to do another lesson.
I think lesson 50 says it all.
Yeah,
I am sustained by the love of God. That's all you need.
yeah.
Go home.
Home, home on the range. Uh, so this paragraph then it says, sentence 7, I just wanted to look at this real quick. In the name of God, you mentioned this one as well. In the name of God, be wholly willing to abandon all illusions. What is he saying there? Remember God and forget the damn delusions. Remember that I'm God's son. That's all I need to know. God is my father. That's all I need to know. The rest of it, I don't have to worry about. Whatever happens is going to happen anyway, with or without my consent, with or without my acceptance. It's just going to happen. The lesson is to learn that none of it matters. None of it has any meaning. Nothing has any meaning. Go back to your lesson 1. So in any relationship, see, and this is what I really love about the way that Jesus put this course together, or however it came together, because here we have this whole thing about, be complete when we are one with God, be complete when we remember the truth of what we are, be complete in knowing that the world is an illusion. And then he throws in the relationship, because completion can never be unless I am complete with my brother. And so he's always going to point the finger at the real of it, is that it's the relationship. In any relationship in which you are wholly willing to accept completion, and only this, there is God completed and his son with him. So, I mean, this is not just a throwaway sentence here. This is the key to all of it, is that any relationship, which holy relationship, I'm willing to completely accept, completion. There, God is completed and his son with him. I am no longer an orphan or a fatherless child. I am as God created me. I am God's son. there is God completed and his son with him. So all the rest of this stuff, and holy, I mean, seriously, if we did nothing other than to seek out holy relationships, develop holy relationships. I'm not talking about some secret formula. It's a relationship in which you see God in your brother and yourself. You connect with God and your brother and yourself. If we have, and if you have a one holy relationship, you will not be happy unless you have a holy relationship with everything. I don't even know if you can have one holy relationship. I have a feeling that a true holy relationship puts you in relationship with everything and everyone. And I think that's what he's saying right here. In any relationship in which you are wholly willing to accept completion, and only this, there is God completed and his son with him. I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Mickey, yes, please.
Well, you're absolutely correct. You know, in but but I think the trick is, in any relationship in which you are wholly willing to accept completion, can you accept completion with that relationship you have, difficult relationship you have? We're all willing to accept completion with somebody that we think is the bee's knees. But can we look beyond the appearances of what someone is saying or doing and see the spark of the divine in them and know that we can accept completion with that part of them, regardless of what they're doing or saying? And that's really accepting completion. Because, like Dove always likes to quote Ken saying, if you want the fast track with this stuff, don't hang out where it's really easy. Don't hang out where it's really easy to accept completion with somebody who you think, is the world to you and loves everything about you and you love everything about them. That's easy. That's accepting completion in, what was that line that from the last? That's accepting completion in a bleak world of illusion. That's not accepting completion with anyone. In any relationship, throw that stuff at somebody who you think is not great, and that's where you're really gonna get it. That's when you're really gonna get to the heart of this. Thanks.
Thank you. And yeah, so that's it. There's, and I love the bee's knees, but if there's anybody who I have a problem with, then I'm not in a holy relationship. If I say I'm in a holy relationship with so and so or such and such, but boy, I hate these guys, or I don't like that person, or this person annoys me, how can you be in a holy relationship? How can you be in a holy relationship with somebody and still be rejecting any part of love, God's creation, reacting with a lack of love toward any of God's creations? It's impossible. I mean, people might think they have a holy relationship, but unless you have a holy relationship with everybody, I don't think you can have a holy relationship with anybody. So, and I think that's what he's saying here. Once you have one, it's done. Let's see, let's look at paragraph 21. Not 21. Why did I think 20? Why did I see 21? Must be something there. Okay. All right. Who wants to read paragraph 10?
I'll read it.
Thank you.
The bridge that leads to union in yourself must lead to knowledge, for it was built with God beside you and will lead you straight to Him where your completion rests, wholly compatible with His. Every illusion you accept into your mind by judging it to be attainable removes your own sense of completion. I'm going to read that over again. Every illusion you accept into your mind by judging it to be attainable removes your own sense of completion and thus denies the wholeness of your Father. Every fantasy, be it of love or hate, deprives you of knowledge, for fantasies are the veil behind which truth is hidden. To lift a veil that seems so dark and heavy, it is only needful to value truth beyond all fantasy and be entirely unwilling to settle for illusion in place of truth. You know, it's interesting. The way I see the process is it's really going by itself. Like, you know, everybody says you have to keep your eyes on this all the time, watch your mind and all that. And the way I dealt with the process is I just had earbuds in my ear a lot, just listening to different teachings, reading the book, and kind of just realizing that there's something within me that's going to bring me home. Nobody out there is going to do it. It has to come from within. So if I did start to, like, every illusion you accept into your mind by judging it to be attainable removes your own sense of completion and thus denies the wholeness. So, you know, that's the whole point. We are in denial when we think that Jesus is talking to a person. Jesus is not talking to a person. He's talking to wholeness. And the wholeness that we are wakes up and realizes that it's always been enlightened, because that's all it is. So it says, you know, every fantasy, be it of love, hate, deprives you of knowledge, for fantasies are the veil behind which truth is hidden. So everything that we skim over and believe matters, which is criticism and, you know, any judgment, we are blocking our light. And the light lifts, you know, for this mind, that the light came in before the thoughts. Like, in other words, the light came out into my awareness maybe about 5 years ago, but I still had a lot of cleaning up to do, a lot of beliefs that I still thought that were important, you know. And I'm going to say something that I really was shocked at, that I didn't get early on. There's never been a me, and I got that for about 5 years, and then I was with another teacher who basically was saying we become the infinite, but somehow I blocked out that we've always been the infinite because we're never there. And so I would just feel like, okay, so Sharon's going to become the infinite. No, Sharon has nothing to do with the infinite. Sharon is just in the way of the infinite. She's blocking the light. The infinite is the light, and that's what we are. So the value of truth, you know, loving the truth is when you listen to it all day long, like I did, and just realizing that you're going to get it somehow because it's all happening from within. There's nothing out there. No one can give this to you. You're already pretty much awake, but if you want to progress on the path, then you keep feeding it the good food. You don't want to feed it junk food, you know, and get caught up. But I couldn't do that until I could do it, because there was still, you know, a lot of just like distraction going on. And now I don't have that. So I guess what happens is you get to a place where you're so comfortable with knowing that you've been this all along and that you've never been in a body. There's no bodies here. But at one point, I think I can confuse people by saying this, but at one point I thought that Sharon turns into the infinite, and that's not true. The infinite is all that's ever been here. Sharon is nothing. So that's all I have.
Exactly. There is no Sharon and never has
Right,
been.
and but I was confused. I got into confusion years off and on through the process that Sharon becomes the infinite. No, Sharon is not there. The infinite is all that's here, but it is kind of amazing that we have these bodies seemingly coming out of the infinite. You know, it's kind of amazing. It's not kind of, it is amazing.
But we don't. That's the thing is it's a
Right, you're
projection.
right, you're right, you're right. You
So
see how quickly? You're so right. Oh my God, yes.
yeah, so none of it actually is. It's
Right,
just these are
but
just the
you know,
stories we're telling about
getting
it.
right because it's like you. Sometimes I think for me anyway that I felt Sharon was important and she's nothing.
No, no.
You know, she's absolutely nothing. She doesn't mean anything. She never did. And I knew that early on when we were in Gather for years. I knew I wasn't there and I just loved it. But then I somehow thought somehow Sharon becomes, but Sharon is actually nothing. And I think I took a lot of what's the word? I felt love for her and I didn't want to give her up so quickly.
Yeah,
Maybe
she's a pretty adorable character. I mean,
yeah,
but I mean, why wouldn't you? Seriously, why wouldn't you love that character? Why wouldn't we love? I mean,
right.
look
I
around.
did love her, the character, and I loved that. Well, I just love the whole journey now because I realized everything that happened for me. But you don't know that until you live it.
No, you think things are against you,
You think
or
maybe,
you think
oh, so
something's
many
trying to
thoughts
stop
come
you.
in. Right. The ego is very feisty. It's actually really funny, the whole thing.
The whole thing is very funny. And
It
that's why
really
you
is.
gotta laugh. That's why, seriously, when you start looking at it, you really do have to laugh about it.
It's the only thing you can do because it's ridiculous. You know
Yeah.
what I mean by ridiculous?
Yeah.
Um, well, it's ridiculous because just you have to, and I got this so early on from Gather because I listened to it 24 times. As much as Dub was on, I was on there. And what I realized was I'm not there. But then somehow I brought her back again. And I guess that's just more stuff to clean up.
Right. Well, maybe she wasn't gone anywhere at all and just, I
Doesn't
mean,
happen
that's
for Sharon, happens for our true self. Right. Sharon's nothing. Dove Ricks doesn't happen. No, nothing happens for me. That's the thing about the course that is so amazing. It's the most radical book they have on and I listened to Ken this morning and it was all about that it was just like he says, there's not a book out there like this that is that radical. It's saying you're not there.
yeah. Well, the way that it's written and the way that it's written for us, very definitely. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, let's see. All right.
I'm so glad I even came back to the courts. As Helen says, who wants to read? They don't exist. Right, 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 right. Yes. Helen was just being honest. She was
Yeah,
really just honest.
from
And this
her
is,
perspective, but she had, exactly what you're just talking about. She knew the truth, but she didn't believe it. And so that's what happens. You know it's true, but
it's true, but you don't believe it because you still you're so attached to your character. It's
yeah,
like your character's been everything to you. So seemingly there's no time, but it takes time. It took as long as it took. It takes as long as it takes. It doesn't matter. But the point is that if we see everybody is healed, then that's the best thing you can do.
that's right. Exactly. Well, thanks everybody for being here with us today, into our deep dive into A Course in Miracles. What a lot of fun. We're in chapter